And welcome to Sideline, the Agenda, sports podcasting done right. My name is Scott. With me is Kevin, KCP, and of course, Chris is in the house. Financial turmoil is brewing in the NBA and many of its owners, while a few, such as billionaire Los Angeles Clippers owner Steve Ballmer and Brooklyn Nets majority owner Joseph Tsai, have profited massively from the coronavirus lockdown. Many other owners are losing big. I'm going to start with you, Chris. It's a very interesting story, given that the NBA supports outspoken individuals, players and coaches openly endorsing democratic socialist policies and social causes that seek to level the playing field. Do you think that the NBA should make the rich owners redistribute their wealth to the other owners and put their money where their mouth is?
Yeah, wouldn't that be totally ironic? Yeah, due to the lockdown, and let us not forget what was the NBA leading the charge in. That was the shutdown. They were the first major sports organization, really the first major organization to say, that's it, we're done. We've got 2 players that tested positive. We're going to shut everything down. And pretty much everything else followed suit after that. We started having governors shut down states. So it is pretty ironic that due to that lockdown and due to the current crisis with coronavirus, you've got a couple owners that have massively increased their wealth. And then we've got some other owners, because they're in different types of industries, that are really starting to hurt. And there's even word that some organizations, like say the Warriors, for example, they really rely a lot on their attendance gate, which can be up to $5 million per game. You're not getting any fans at all for the foreseeable future, not only for this season, but who knows, it might even be for next season as well. So they're in a position to where they might have to start borrowing. They might have to start borrowing big. So wouldn't it be completely ironic that we have an outspoken NBA pushing all these social causes, let's level the playing field, we should all be on even footing, complete utopian communist talking points. And you've got these massively wealthy owners. Shouldn't they give some money to the other owners? Shouldn't the NBA, hey, everyone be on an even playing field? What did we see with the last CBA, the last collective bargaining agreement? We saw all these years of major cities basically running the NBA, like the Los Angeles Lakers, for example. They've got the big market. So the CBA wanted to really level the playing field. They put caps on salaries. They put incentives to make superstars stay in small market teams so that those teams could still be competitive. But what we're going to see now is we've got some teams that are so flush with cash, like the Clippers and the Brooklyn Nets, because their owners are 2 of the owners that are massively profiting. Steve Ballmer, majority shareholder in Microsoft, his stock has just gone through the roof. He's worth like 60-70 billion now. The other one from the Brooklyn Nets sold shares from Alibaba, and he from that sale took home like 13 billion alone. So yeah, wouldn't these guys be able to give some money to some of those other owners throughout the league, help them compete? But we're going to see the Clippers dominate for years to come, because they can actually pay guys. They can give lengthy contracts. They can have the security. Players are going to want to go there because they know my check ain't going to bounce. Same thing with the Nets. We're going to see some other teams that maybe we haven't seen competitive in a while. If their owners are doing well, they're going to start to be able to compete, and this is going to drastically alter the landscape of the NBA. Just strictly because of financial issues, just because of the lockdown. And yeah, are these guys going to put their money where their mouth is? Are they really following these slogans, these bumper sticker slogans? Are they really about that, or are they really about the money? And that's what we point out here. That's what we point out with this agenda. It's really about the money. This whole China fiasco that's been going on with the NBA for the past several years, it's all about the money. They even had corruption and apparently coaches beating kids over in some NBA camps in China, to where they've had to shut it down. And they said they're losing like $400 million because of that. So the NBA is going to start getting it, where it hurts in the dollars. A lot of these other owners, there's going to be some pushback, especially once they see the ratings aren't coming in because of this BLM agenda, this socialist agenda, this having their outspoken coaches and players that are endorsing this type of propaganda. And, everyone's entitled to their opinion. We're not saying you can't have a political opinion, but that's on you as a person, not an entire organization that's supposed to be unifying everyone behind a sport. You're a sport. You're the National Basketball Association. You deal with basketball. What are you doing trying to lecture people on social issues? I see you can try to get the word out, but maybe be a little bit more careful about what you try to get the word out with, not over some issues that are incredibly divisive and have alternate agendas behind them. So, yeah, let's put your money where the mouth is Steve Ballmer and Tsai from the Nets. You guys got almost $100 billion amongst you. Maybe you could help out some of those other owners, and they can stay competitive, and they can pay some of those players to make their teams more competitive. But you don't want to do that because you want to pay those players because you want to be the ones winning the championships, right? You want to be the ones that are dominating. So you talk all socialist, you talk all utopian, but really you're capitalist because that's what makes your organization great. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't wish any harm on any of the owners that are struggling. I don't wish any harm on any of the owners that are doing well. That's what happens in the economy. And we've seen all these winners and losers because of this lockdown, but we don't like seeing winners and losers getting picked by those that are in charge, by the higher ups, saying that we're only going to allow these people to work and not these other people to work, these smaller businesses, because of whatever reason you want to give. So it is nice to see that those that are those really wealthy owners, they're not above the fray of what's going on to everyday people, and it probably hasn't quite hit them yet. We've got the new NBA restart about to pick up again, but we're definitely going to see a major impact in the NBA for probably several years to come. And you're going to see some of these other teams, like the Clippers, for example, that are known for being bottom feeders or in the cellar of the NBA. And you might start seeing them dominate. And other teams like the Warriors that were flush with cash and were just dominating for the last 5 years, 6 years, they might start to take a little bit of tumble, but they still got some good players on their roster right now. But we'll see. Can they pay players in the future? Can they get guys to come there in the future? It's going to really shake up the NBA for years to come.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Steve Ballmer acquiring the Forum with plans to build down the street, I suppose, for a new stadium for the Clippers. Also, Joe Tsai having the ability to cash out so much stock in Alibaba, with rumors that he was going to buy a portion of the Mets, but apparently that's not necessarily going to be the case. How about that? I mean, you got a family-owned Lakers who are admittedly struggling. Originally, they had applied for relief from the federal government, and then I guess ultimately ended up sending that back. What do you think about that, Kevin? Should the NBA owners, in essence, practice what they preach, put their money where their mouth is, and maybe spread the wealth a bit when it comes to supporting some of these franchises in these struggling areas?
Yeah, it's such a funny thing, huh? It's almost like the hypocrites will come out when the light's shone on them. Let's not forget, NBA's been in cahoots with China for a long time. Seems like they're taking notes. Seems like they're trying to bring some of what they learned from China into the NBA. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all if it's something that's almost expected from NBA owners all of a sudden to share their wealth. And it wouldn't be surprising that NBA would be the one leading the charge. It's almost like we should be calling the NBA the NBAC, the National Basketball Association Communists. That's what we're seeing right now. And I would be more than happy to see where that would take them. I really would. I think it would take them down to the gutter, down to I think they will go broke pretty dang soon, because I know for dang sure no owner is going to be sharing their profit with other owners. They might hand them a loan with some interest on top of that, but that is not the same as sharing. We all know that. And then not only not only speaking about just the owners, but what about the players? Are you going to be playing the players now all evenly salaries across the board? I highly doubt that that's going to fly in the NBA with all these players and these big-headed prima donnas that we see on the court nowadays. So it's very interesting. I know that what Chris was alluding to, that town in China that they stopped doing business with, that league that they had over there due to the accusations that was coming out of that league, that was almost like an eye opener. Like, I mean, come on, should have been cut ties. This has been going on for a while now, and it had to take actual video for us to get our heads screwed on straight. Not only the chaos that's going on in Hong Kong and China and where that happened earlier in the year. So this is an interesting thing. I would be happy to see where it goes, but we live in a capitalist
Chris, what do you think
state.
about that? Where do you think it will
capitalism.
go regarding viewership and ownership and the challenges of that, and more specifically, with these certain owners who have this immense amount of wealth, will this flip the power dynamic in both the East and the West of the NBA?
Yeah, I think Kevin made a good point. Wouldn't it be typical of the NBA to try to pretty much lead the socialist charge in having their owners have to redistribute their wealth? But as he said, the buck stops here, if you want to put it like that. The big bucks, these guys are not going to be giving their cash away like that. So again, they're put your money where your mouth is, but we'll see. I'll believe it when it actually happens. But again, yeah, this is definitely going to alter the landscape of the NBA. We're going to see these teams that have owners that are really well off right now, that have taken advantage of this lockdown. We're fortunate enough to be in industries that profited off of this. They're going to be the powerhouses for the foreseeable future. And Los Angeles, it's probably going to flip. The Lakers they have a good squad right now. They're going to have that whole reputation and legacy. But we've already seen in recent years the Clippers are kind of the destination landing spot, and it's definitely going to continue to be that way because, again, you don't have to worry about where that money's coming from with that owner. He's got enough to own basically every team in the NBA.
Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it? I mean, isn't that funny that there can very well be a day where the Clippers are the destination in the West, and the Los Angeles Lakers are somewhat of the doormat of the National Basketball Association. It seems like that's the canary in the coal mine regarding the end of time.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess pigs are going to fly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Soon.
How about this? One last thing. Of course, WNBA players making noise a couple of days ago when they all walked off during the national anthem. Of course, there's social issues that may immediately be attached to that, but what had really been talked about before was the lack of compensation that each player gets in comparison to your typical NBA player. Do you think that there will also be an agenda down the road where, say, if certain wealthy owners and even players are having to share the wealth for the league, shouldn't they also share the wealth in regards to equality, whether that's gender equality and the WNBA, and pick up the slack a little bit more than they do? I believe the NBA already gives about $10 million to the WNBA, the NBA, that is. Do you think that should be an agenda that talking about putting your money where your mouth is, where the NBA steps it up this way, Kevin?
Sure, but it's just not in the cards. I don't understand the concept of aiding a WNBA that is obviously hasn't been able to successfully entertain the masses, and having the NWA rosters walk off the court during the anthem as a publicity stunt to be able to obtain more viewerships, to maybe to pull in more crowds so they could start entertaining more people, maybe bring them more profit. It seems like a failed antic that they tried, and it came out looking more disrespectful than something that a lot of people can support. So they would have to, in a sense, where, I mean, who is going to watch the WNBA?
Well, the funny thing is, it came across girlish.
Yeah,
very,
didn't it?
Very.
How about you, Chris? Do you think they should step it up and share the funds with the Women's National Basketball League?
Oh God, I seriously hope not. I mean, in this world of bailouts, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they try to prop them up, but this is supposed to be, hey, if you're good, the people are going to come, the revenue's going to be there. You can't bail out everything that's a failure. It's a failure for a reason, and it needs to fail so that they can figure out why, and if they want to come back and improve things, then they'll be that much better off for it. But this is not a nation that's supposed to be bailing people out because nobody wants to watch you. Be more entertaining. Maybe don't be so disrespectful. Maybe have your players go out there and actually salute the flag. I mean, be patriotic. You might get more interest that way, but just to play off the hate, to play off all of the divisiveness right now, to not only kneel, but just to walk off the court, it's just so incredibly ignorant and disrespectful and unappreciative of where you are and the opportunity that is literally at your feet out there on that court. I mean, try going and having a WNBA in Iran or
right.
in Turkey or in some of these other nations. It's not going to happen, not only because they just don't have the ability to have a league like that, but women are not first-class citizens in a lot of these countries. So maybe open your eyes, reassess your worldview, see all the privileges that you have in this country to where you can go out and play a damn sport to make a living. I mean, get real. Yeah, they should not be propped up.